Congratulations on your purchase and welcome to the wonderful world of Knitting Mate, the great new way to knit fast. This video will help you rediscover the art of knitting in a way you never thought possible. Knitting Mate is a machine by definition, but gives you the control and flexibility you get with hand knitting, at up to 5 times the speed. As with all new projects, it'll take you a little time to understand, and then to develop these skills with proficiency and speed. Follow this video and the Knitting Mate instruction manual carefully. And with practice, you'll be knitting up to 5 times faster than with conventional needles. As your skills and speed improve, you'll be rewarded with stunning knitwear, great savings, and the pleasure of viewing your own creations. Let's get knitting. Setting up. Thread one of the needles like this, ignoring the top 3 holes on the handle section. Thread from the bottom end of the handle to the blade section, keeping the curved section of the blade standing upright, like this. Clip together as many of the interlocking comb sections you require. Then use the 2 table clamps to secure the length of comb to a table, or any surface of a comfortable height. Make sure that the smooth side of the comb is facing you and that the comb points are facing upwards. Casting on. Start by tying 1 chain stitch as you would for hand knitting, like this. Then slip it onto a tooth at the right-hand side of the comb and secure the loose end onto the clamp. Remember, casting on is always done from right to left along the comb. Here's how. The yarn is twisted around adjacent teeth clockwise from the front to the back of the comb and around the front to the next tooth on the left. Look again. Go clockwise from the front to the back and around the front to the next tooth on the left. Repeat this for the amount of stitches that you'll need. Hold the yarn down at the end with your left-hand index finger like this to prevent the last stitch from slipping off the tooth. Knitting. Hold the threaded needle this way, then gently insert it to the left-hand side of the first loop on the left-hand side of the comb. Then lift the needle upwards over the top of the tooth. Pull it directly towards your body until the thread has tightened around the tooth like this, to ensure proper tension. Look again as we do the second stitch. Remember, when you start knitting from the right to left, you insert the needle to the left of the tooth and lift the stitch over to the right. When you reach the end of a row and start a new row from left to right, insert the needle to the right of the tooth and lift the stitch over to the left. This will help to keep your knitting even. Useful hints. Before you get going on your first masterpiece, here are some handy hints to help you along. Always ensure you have proper tension by holding the yarn down firmly with your left hand while knitting the next loop on the comb. Also try to pull the loops on the comb evenly after finishing each new stitch. To speed up the knitting, thread the additional needles as before, using 1 ball of wool per needle. Then clip the needles together this way. Watch how we follow exactly the same knitting procedure we used for a single needle. You only move on 1 stitch at a time when using the multiple needle. This means that when you have done 1 row on the comb, you've actually knitted 2 rows when using a double needle, 3 rows when using a triple needle, and 4 rows when using a quadruple needle. If you drop a stitch when using more than 1 needle, unclip the needles and knit in the dropped stitch like this. When knitting with 3 or 4 needles, use a pencil or knitting needle to control the tension. Finally, the Knitting Mate does not do ribbings for jerseys and pullovers. Do the ribbing by hand first, and then transfer it onto the comb like this, stitch by stitch, with the wrong side of the knitting facing you. Casting off is done this way. Using only one needle, insert the needle into the loop like this. Then insert the needle into the next stitch and complete the knitting procedure as usual. Push the needle into the same stitch, gently lift it off the needle, then insert the needle into the adjacent stitch and complete the knitting procedure for that stitch. Repeat this for as many stitches as needed, or until all the stitches have been cast off. The patterns. Once you have practiced these basics and you have developed some speed and skill, you can start experimenting on other styles of knitting. You'll find 6 patterns in your instruction manual to start you off. But your only limitation with the knitting mate is your imagination. With a little patience and practice, you can create your own patterns. You'd be amazed at what you can do. If you've ever knitted with a pattern before, you'll find the patterns in the Knitting Mate instruction manual easy to follow. If you haven't, you'll find a guide in your manual, and here's a quick indication to the symbols used in the patterns. This symbol is for tooth, and it means that you should cast on to the teeth. This is for row. This indicates first row, while this indicates row to the right, and this is for row to the left. Finally, this symbol is for repeat loop. Read the pattern rows from left to right, one row after the other. If in any doubt, double-check the instruction manual and the appropriate section in this video. And with a little practice, you'll soon be able to master all these skills. Enjoy your knitting mate.